I recall when I first opened this up, it was very nutty forward. And it has lost a little bit, and that's where I
Yo.
Alright, welcome to SF Whiskey, guys. Today we are doing a Kavalan day. Should we have some of the bottles in the front here, maybe?
Yeah.
We'll put the
nice ones.
Yeah, put the nice ones in. Don't know if
We can almost read.
Yeah. So Kavalan is a very, very interesting kind of a distillery. I mean, it's pretty new. I mean, they opened up in it was completed building the distillery in 2005. They had their first bottling in 2008. They won some awards in 2012 and 15 for whiskey competitions, and so it's gotten a lot of hype around it, I guess, for lack of a better explanation. But I think there's a lot of love and hate about this distillery.
Yeah.
People do kind of talk about it, but the prices for their juice has gotten extremely high because it's a world whiskey, hard to get from Taiwan. But hey, we're going to be diving in. First up here is going to be it's a Kavalan Sherry, and it's a pick actually for the SF Whiskey Society, or I should say the SFWBSS, by Roland, and then it was his pick, I believe, the Golden Gate.
Yes.
Do you have the details on that? Or
Just a few. So it was a 2014 bottling, and they were 479 bottles produced, and the ABV clocks in at 58.6%.
Ooh,
So
that's
higher.
It is pretty high.
Let's go ahead and dive into Roland's Golden Gate.
Yeah, sherry hits you. It's like a
Yeah.
dark cherry almost.
It's like dark cherry and it's almost molasses.
Molasses, yeah.
It's a little molasses, but it's like that oak.
It's that
oak.
deep,
Yeah.
deep, yeah.
I dare say it's a little on the dry side on the nose.
For sure.
Yeah. This is probably if I had to really wager a bet, it probably might be an Oloroso cask. Because it's getting that the tobacco molasses is getting that deep oak sense.
There's a lot of complexity.
Did
Yeah.
you have a Oloroso cask on a Solus too, right?
Kind of, yeah.
I've only seen an Oloroso as a core lineup, and that was very mediocre.
I heard very, very mixed things about that. The core lineup one, yeah. It's either people that say oh yeah, it's really, really good, or they say oh I didn't really like it.
I don't think any of the core lineup to be that interesting from what I tasted.
I think the big thing that people kind of decry is that they're trying to substitute age with their supposedly higher evaporation rate or something like that. The distillery
It's just more humid over there in Taiwan.
Exactly, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and go in.
Oh yeah.
That is not what I expected on the palate.
No, but that dryness you talk about kind of really came through though.
It's dry. It's really earthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really kind of savory, umami. I don't think I would call it mushroomy though.
It's not mushroom.
It's kind of it's soy sauce.
Soy saucy, yeah, a little bit, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
It's not as umami as some of the other other more sherry kind of scotches or some other stuff that we had before.
It's a different type of sherry bomb than what most people expect out of sherry bomb.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you think sherry bomb is toffee, raisins, and all that kind of sweeter side. This is definitely on a more savory side, which is I think it's amazing.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those you want to really sit down and kind of sip.
Yeah.
It's not a daily drinker.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's interesting for this one though. It's not much on the mid and the end palates though, right? But you kind of get hints of stuff that lingers. But maybe it's that dryness that really cuts it off.
Yeah.
What would you put this at?
On our scale, on our rating.
Definitely on the high 80s. I just don't know where.
Also put it in the mid 80s for me.
An 87, 88. you know.
That's the kind of
If I'm really feeling that like deep like sherry notes, maybe like an 89.
I would decide like maybe like 86ish, right? Like it's delicious, right? But I'm just missing something that I'm used to from sherries that I'm not getting here. I mean, that's why I'm like, okay, like my mind, I want more depth, I want the richness.
I hear you where you're coming from. Yeah, I personally, it's the sweetness, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we just enjoy that, that flavor profile a little more, you know. All right, I'm around the 87 area. Yeah, that's in the ballpark there. I think it's a good experience. Yeah. Let's go on to the next one here. This is one of Albert's favorite bottles. This is the PX cask, the Pedro Ximenez. And PX, as we know, it has a really, really nice sweet aspect for it. If we're thinking about just sherry cask in general, it's definitely more towards the sweeter side, like more kind of maple syrup pancakey almost, you know.
It smells sweeter too.
Yeah, instantly on the nose, you're getting that like syrupy sweetness.
But nose like this like caramelized kind of like creme brulee almost.
Yeah, it's like creme brulee, little bit of that.
So vanilla.
Jam. It's like fruit preserve, jamminess.
Oh, that doesn't disappoint.
No, that's nice.
Okay.
That kind of hits you in that mid palate, right? Bam, right there.
On the back end.
Yeah, back end a little more. Yeah. But I kind of like that though. Kind of lingers a little more of that flavor.
Tasting this one, this number 2. What would you pay for a bottle for this one then? You know.
Blindfolded.
Oh, we didn't even grade it yet even.
It's good.
It is really good.
I'm still at the 87, 88.
I'm still in that area too.
Yeah.
This is a solid
maybe
like 86,
87 and a half.
87.
Yeah, maybe like I'll put it at an 87 and a half.
Yeah, maybe slightly higher for me. It's more like 87ish.
But what would you pay for that? If it's an 87 and a half bottle, that's the experience that it's giving you. What would you want to buy a bottle actually?
I would if this was like blindfolded and it was and somebody would say, hey, it's on the shovelware, would you pay for it, right?
I would buy a bottle because I think people just summons with the Kavalan name, right? And then because they want to try something Kavalans, this would be a bottle. I would pay like 300, maybe pushing 350 for a bottle of this.
Really? Wow.
But then like 300 would like be where my comfort food would be.
I would say that if I've never had a Kavalan and I wanted a Baltic Sport, this one would be one to kind of keep on the shelf and like have friends over and try it out. If I've never had a Kavalan, I can see the 300 maybe that area. Yeah. But if I've had some already and I'm thinking about would I want to re-experience that bottle, I probably want to pay like 175, 200, 200 something.
I would say 280.
All right, let's move on to number 3, the Vinho Barrique. Vinho Barrique. So these are all cask strength, but also single cask. So they all have their little denomination over here, their cask numbering over there. So there is going to be a fair amount of variability between them. This is a bottle that was obtained from Korea. Obviously the Korea sticker there. And it's clocking in at 58.6 ABV for this 700 milliliter model here.
It's very perfuming. Maybe just because we've been sniffing some harsh sherry bombs, but
you definitely smell that like that wine finish for it.
Yeah, this is definitely like wine finish, but it's very like inviting.
I don't know why, but I think from the name it sets my mind up for a biasy of like I'm gonna get grape out of this maybe. I don't know.
I mean, even on the nose, right? You get a little bit of that like
fruit notes
you almost get like a bit of like a grape candy kind of nose.
It's bordering on this potentially artificial
synthetic, synthetic grape flavor or artificial grape flavor.
But I like that sweetness. It's like candy on the nose. Yeah. Let's see what goes on the palate. Oh yeah, that's the sugar bomb. Yeah, that is sweet.
That's that long finish that like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the heat is not as harsh. No. You know, it's more mellowed out.
It hits you in that mid palate and kind of stays there for a little bit.
It teases your palate. Yeah. It teases your tongue because like it just kind of lingers there, but it's not offensive.
So this one is definitely more on the sugary level. I don't think there's anything new. Like not like the Golden Gate. It brought something like that new earthy savoriness, but it's just like a really nice execution of that, flavor that you would expect.
Yeah.
this for me would be a good sipper, right? But it won't be like one that's like am I gonna explore more of, you know?
So you're thinking around like an 87 then, probably.
I was think maybe like 84 for me. It's a little bit lower than the Golden King.
Okay, interesting. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I put like nose. Like I agree with you. Like I put 88 for nose, and I put like and around 86.
This is Manzanilla. So to make you confused even more, so Kavalan released off the soloist thing, and they're labeling this one it's the Manzanilla Cask, and they also have a Amontillado Cask Sherry, and I didn't even know that there are different sherry. I thought sherry is sherry, but there's PX sherry, there's other things, but this is the only place where I've seen Manzanilla and Amontillado be mentioned. I guess they're just drier sherry varieties. But any case here, I mean, I'm not a sherry person. I don't know much about it, but call it a variation of sherry other than the PX and others.
We should do a sherry tasting.
Oh,
True sherry. Yeah.
I don't
Nose
think-
on this.
I don't think. Yeah.
The nose on this is really like that sugary.
Nose is a little bit more. I dare say a little mineral.
I don't know if I like this. This reminds me of like shoe polish.
Yeah. There's
Something
acetone.
Yeah,
acetone,
acetone.
yeah.
Acetone would be a better one. Yeah, but it's like
It's definitely more
it's very like synthetic, like chemical that I'm picking up.
All right, let's go in. There's a richness to this one.
I was gonna say this is the richness I was seeking the whole time.
You know, we keep comparing this to Scotch. This
It
one
does have that
tastes the most like a Scotch.
This one still has that hotness though, you know.
It just had the hotness, but
Yeah.
There's like.
The hotness is very subtle for me. I mean, it's kind of weird. I was getting more hotness on, I believe, the PX than this.
it does have a little more dryness though too.
Even though this is better, like the nose doesn't
I
reach
like
that
this.
88 Vinho nose.
I really like
You
this,
know.
yeah.
The nose for me is still like hovering around like an 86-ish. And the palate, it's richer, it's what I want,
Yeah.
but it's only 87 and a half.
It's
It's not breaking that like.
It's not unique though, right? It's rich for sure, but it's not like something that you haven't had before.
To be fair, the nose for this scored like super low for me. It only scored an 82. Because I am generally not a fan of that acetone type of nose.
And I recall when I first opened this up, it was very nutty forward. And it has lost a little bit, now we're at half down, but
What would you rate the Manzanilla since we didn't
still, it's at an 87 and a half. It's
Yeah.
very comparable to Al's PX. Different experience, different flavor profile, a little bit more nutty, but something about like, you know,
I think for all these it's very subjective at this point. I think they're all like in that range, like similar. For me, it's like a little bit lower than the PX one, but then again, that's my flavor profile that I gravitate towards too, right?
but it has not like wowed me in like, you know, a way that like this is, there's gotta be like one stalwart bottle that's like, this is what we can do, and this is amazeballs. I haven't hit that. I haven't been hit with that.
I mean,
Although,
yeah.
there's something that I noticed, right? We all score these all in like, you know, the mid to high 80s. That does show that it has consistency.
Oh, this is a fun exploration. I will say this Kavalan is consistent, and we're all in the 80, mid high 80s for us. But honestly, for 150, if you buy it to Taiwan, worth the juice, right?
Yeah.
But
It has consistency, but like, you know, like you said earlier, it hasn't like exactly like wow. There's not like that one specific bottle that you've said like, okay, this is it.
yeah, to all your points, it's not like one that's wowing us, but that said, definitely give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers, Solange.